So let's get started with the patch notes. Overall, I would say it's like a pretty small patch. Not too many things have changed. Free cost reroll has been really bad this whole set, so they buffed a little bit, um, by about like 10% in terms of your rolls to find a 3 cost. It doesn't actually translate to 10% more gold because most of your money is actually spent. I shouldn't say most, but like about half your money is about spent actually buying units. So it's really like a 5% econ boost. Uh, Whatever. It's nice to have. There's also some 3 costs in particular that got buffed. We'll look at later. I will say, looking at early data, it doesn't seem like there are any 3 cost rerolls that are really dominating or even prevalent at all. Have to go quite far down to see like Jinx and yeah, even further down to see like Game and Drape. Still not looking good. I think it's just the
I
way this
mean,
set is balanced. They're not that good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I imagine a three country roll can't live in the world we currently have with the level 8 cost. It just feels like, depending on how much gold you end up having to spend to hit, you are stuck never hitting level 8, which feels really bad.
Yeah, I think it's just like yeah, the way this says balance, because normally if you 3 cost reroll, you normally don't hit on stage 4, so you're losing out all of stage 4. And then even after you do hit, you're not really stronger than people who have 2-star legendaries, so then it's just like a better if you are going to sack stage 4 anyway, you would rather just like go fast 9 instead. Leveling changes. So this is reverted. I think this is a good change. Cannon slightly easier to unlock. Tomcat slightly easier to unlock. We can see like how much Bilgewater has changed. Put in like Tom Kench, for example. Look at average place change. So Tom Kench comps being a tiny bit better, but doesn't really matter that much. Like this is one round of playing, even like 5 bilge basically. I guess it's a little more than one round of 5 bilge. It's like less than one round of 7, but more round of 5. Got the blades buff, small buff, gunslinger. Oh, pretty small changes to the Piltover stuff. Blast shield, like probably probably still really good despite a 10% nerf. Pretty small changes here. Gen buff. Um, Again, I would say like not super relevant. A lot of times Gen is going into Ionia, which Yunara nerf is more impactful. Zona nerf. This is making Demacia a little bit worse, but again, like Demacia is still fine. Zinjao buff makes up for it, even not quite makes up for it, but like counteracts it a little bit. Um, Bard, this is like a 5%. It's like a 7% buff. So Bard is a little bit better. Pretty much the only comp that plays him is either Aphelios or Ishtar reroll. So those are like a tiny bit better, but overall, yeah, the patch is just really small. Same thing with Tristana. Buffed only at 3 stars. Pretty sizable. Um, like 17%, so pretty sizable. But I mean, Tristana 3 was not super relevant, so maybe it makes Short a little bit better. I wouldn't.
Trust me, the world's patch will finally be the Euro reroll
Yeah,
patch, I believe.
yeah, maybe. Because yeah, we'll see right now. Like it basically didn't change for this patch, the last patch.
They're just gonna keep buffing it, and then one day it'll hit critical mass.
Yeah, I don't think Yordle reroll will ever be viable in like high elo because they kind of have to balance for like Yordle reroll is already like quite good in low elo just because it's so straightforward. Um, so I don't think it'll ever be viable in like worlds, but we'll see. I mean, maybe crazier things have happened. Darius. So Darius, let's actually just look at the unit here. Uh, Average 4.6. Last patch, yeah, I mean this guy just like didn't change either. Darius, Draven, and Ambessa were both all buff, so the Noxus line is a bit better. Actually, let's go ahead and look at Noxus. So 7 Noxus, 4.5. Last patch, 7 Noxus was 4.5. Yeah, I mean, these are all just such small changes that they're just like, I mean, which is fine. Like last patch was considered pretty well balanced for the most part, so they don't want to shake anything too much. But yeah, all these changes are just pretty small. Nothing's moving the needle that much. I mean, this is like a 10% flat AD buff, which is nice. But it's not like now Draven is like crazy overpowered. He
Yeah.
went from like a little bit weak to like maybe a little bit strong at best. Yeah.
Noxus Fast 9's probably better now, though.
Yeah, I do think that's definitely a comp that benefits a lot from Draven. In fact, it's rising in popularity, but it's not really rising in it's not marked here as rising in AVP. I guess we can look at this
Yeah.
exact comp last patch. Noxus Kindred was 4.37 last patch, so it actually is rising in bit, right? Because it actually
Yeah.
rose by like 0.15, which is like pretty good. Yeah, you play like Mbessa as well on this board who got a buff.
I'd
Gwen
be
and
willing to
Jinx.
bet on the Noxus. I'm willing to bet that there's probably also another Darius bug somewhere.
Could be, yeah. They have not. Yeah, Darius and Gwen have been struggling the entire set, so it makes sense to see both of them buff. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Definitely, like the patch is just small. There's nothing that big. This looks a lot bigger than it is. Most of her damage comes from the secondary like AOE damage. So they buffed her primary by like 15% ish. But again, like the primary was only maybe a third of her damage, so it's like a 5% overall damage buff, which I mean she was weaker than her other AP counterparts like Seraphine and Lux. Makes sense. But yeah, just too crazy. Yunara like has a little bit less AP scaling, but not like that much less. Ambessa buff. And then some legendaries, Aatrox. We can see how Aatrox is doing, actually. Definitely one of them that I'm interested in. This is one of the bigger changes in terms of numbers. So it seemed like he went up by like 0.15. I mean, this guy was like really bad last patch. A lot of times you wouldn't even fit him on the Slayer board. So nice to see. Maybe you want to actually play Aatrox now. Small Aurelion Soul buff. Um, it's kind of like an adjustment. This line is a nerf, but like not. You stack faster and you get like the early upgrades, but more, and then you get this about the same. Yes, given this line. Ornn makes him a little bit of a better unit, so you can consider playing him more often instead of just when like you're really ahead. Silence buff, T Hex buffed as well. There's a lot of lines here, but overall, T Hex a little bit buffed. Yeah, I would say nothing in the entire patch notes in terms of units is really big. The biggest things are probably, I mean, this isn't even that big. There's Bard, Draven, but I guess like Sona, Bard, Draven might be the biggest ones, but they're all like relatively small. Nothing's too crazy. Items, so Stoneplate Warmogs were a little bit weaker compared to some of their counterparts like Spirit Visage, uh, Steadfast. A lot of times you just go for those items with like open belt. You go for Visage over Warmog. Just trying to make the gap closer there. Some artifacts. I mean, these items were really bad, so it makes sense they're buffing them. I think they're still going to be pretty bad, even with 100 HP. Hull Crusher was also like pretty mid at best. Moguls? I actually thought Moguls was quite good. You situationally take it with another tank item on 2-1, or with like a upgrade. But pretty small buff here. Again, just overall, just really, really small things. The sniper's focus buff is probably the biggest one. It will be hard to look at data for these just because they're very polluted for the low play rate items by Ornn. Snipers. But we can see if it changed that much. Yeah, I mean, like, so many of these are just Ornn cash outs. But it did go up by like 0.1. Sure. It's hard to say. Radiant versions as well. These Radiants are still really bad, I think. Just the Radiant tank items. For anyone watching and doesn't know about this, Radiant tank items in general are just really bad. So on current patch, all the way at the bottom, despite Warmogs and Stoneplate buff, they're still down here. And this is how it looks last patch as well. Some new augments. So this one's kind of interesting. Brand new augment. Gain 3 non-tank 5-cost champions. Your 1 to 4 cost champions gain durability. So the concept of this is you play like 5-cost backline, and then your frontline becomes stronger. What boards would we actually play with this? I mean, if you're
Really?
frontline, we can use like these kinds of units.
I feel like this is an insane Demacia.
Demacia, interesting. Durabilities go with Demacia. I find it's kind of hard to fit 5 cost in Demacia, right? Because a lot of times, like, you
Well,
can fit maybe Zillion. That's like about it. Maybe Shyvana.
I'm pretty sure it counts. What's his name?
Oh,
Galio.
Galio? Okay. Yeah.
So it's scary. Oh wait, yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's unclear. I think if it does count Galio, it's quite good, right? Because the Ionia augment, if you have it active, is 12% durability your entire team. So now let's say you're playing like just a Zillion and a Galio, that's 16% already.
I don't think it stacks, or at least I would read that as it doesn't stack.
What do you mean?
The augment.
Oh, as in you
It
can
says
only.
if you field a 5 chance cost champion, they gain 8 durability. I think it's just 8%
I
durability,
see.
and
Yeah,
it
so
just
it's
gives
basically
you
giving
three
you
legendaries.
15 gold plus 8% durability.
But it like has a pretty decent chance of giving you Zillion because it specifies not tank,
Yeah.
and uh and then it's just 8% durability on a board that wants to stay alive forever.
Yeah.
I also think it's probably pretty okay in Slayers
I would think this
if they're
is
actually playing
best
Aatrox.
in Yunara, because that's the one that like
That
fits
too.
the most. You first of all, you always field a 5 cost champion, and then you can actually use like Shyvana or Kindred or whatever if you get them. I think like in
That
Demacia
too.
it's a little too hard because like if you don't get Zillion in particular, I think it's a little too hard to fit like the other stuff because you either have to drop. If you're playing this board, you either have to drop like Arcanist or Invoker here. You play like a different 5 cost instead of these guys.
I guess it.
Um,
I guess
but
it depends on if it counts Galio.
that's true. Yeah, if it counts Gallios, then you just get 15 gold plus like 66% of like the Ionia durability augment, which is just good. I mean, Garen does give himself some durability baseline, but I mean, it's just good, especially if you have Gunblade. But I mean, yeah, 15 gold is already like half the value. Like threes gave 32 gold, and they actually nerfed it. So now threes gives 27 gold. So yeah, this thing, the fact that it already gives you 15 gold, even if you sell all of them immediately, is already like quite a lot. I think it's just generically a good augment. It's like half econ, half combat. And there's just not that many comps that use a 5 cost main tank, right? Like there just aren't. Like Tom Kench, I guess would be like one of the only ones. Um, but yeah, if you're playing like this board, I guess your Galio doesn't benefit, but all of these units benefit from the durability. If you're playing like your Nara board, you have Wukong, Terex, Lane, whatever. Like all those guys are gonna benefit. Yeah, I think it's just good.
The best
Uh,
part of it on Yunara is it also doesn't grief your set because it just doesn't apply to him.
um, yeah, that's true.
Versus the
Yeah,
Ionia augment, which does make him take longer.
yeah. Trials of Twilight, I think this one is insane. There's some discussion in the Plus chat the other day about it, how it's like you're playing it against other people with prismatics, but the gap between a gold to a prismatic is more than made up for by an extra item. I think on average you'll win more rounds in stage 2 and stage 3, even though you'll fight other people with prismatics because you have the extra bloodthirster. Um,
It's also 4 copies of Zinjao on a hero augment, which is like disgusting.
yeah, I think this one is quite a bit better than the gold augment because of the dupes. We talked about this in the chat as well, but each dupe is worth like maybe like 20 gold when you're going for a 3 cost. So it's quite a lot. Yeah, I think this augment is going to be extremely, extremely good. Like, take it with like no opener, like literally nothing. You just get, and I think you can take it, but we'll have to see. World runes. So world runes, I think is quite a bit worse than it used to be. I don't think it's that good anymore. Um, I think if you're able to just like naturally get it online without griefing your board to get the 4 XP instead of the 2 XP, then it's like fine. But I think a lot of times the emblems you're gonna get, if you actually want to field 4 traits by like 3-1, for example, you're actually gonna have to like grief your board. So then you choose between kind of like losing 2 XP per combat or playing a weaker board. I just don't think this was that good, honestly. If we compare it to old world runes, it would break even in terms of gold, probably by like stage 4, but you also don't get the tactician's crowd, so it's like quite a bit worse. Yeah, I think world runes honestly is just kind of bad. Ascension, gold ascension. Yeah, I think this is probably better. Less damage yet, but you get it a little bit earlier. Hard to say. I think for most comps it's a little bit better. Artillery barrage. This is Rumble Hero Augment, so that's buffed. 4. Karma's Core. So this breaks even by the end of stage 4, basically. Um, yeah, I mean, I think this augment was probably too good before. Now it's breaks even by the end of stage 4. By the end of stage 5, it's giving you like 20 less gold, which is quite a lot. I think it's like fine if you need econ. A lot of times you're in the position to take these 4-2 prismatic econs. You either like need econ or you don't, basically. So if you need it, you just efficient shot for extra 4 gold. So a silver augment entirely on 2-1 is like 10 gold. Like placebo is 8 gold at the 1% attack speed. Uh so yeah, this is like a 50%. It basically gives an additional like 50% of a silver augment in a sense. So I think this is gonna be really, really, really good. I think losing econ to hold like every 3 cost you see before first carousel is like pretty worth. If you get like any 2-star 3 costs off first carousel, it just like kind of can solve your game for all of stage 2 and 3. But yeah, I think this is gonna be really, really, really good. And maybe you just hold every 3 costs and lost streaks or your first pick. I'm not sure. Epic Rolldown I think was way, way, way too good before. I think it's still pretty good. Flexible buff, indecisions. These are both nerfed. I thought they were like pretty balanced before, so I don't think they're like super weak or anything now. They're like fine. But yeah, I thought they're like pretty balanced at the previous values. So I guess like if I thought they were balanced before, maybe I think they're like a little bit weak now. But it's just most of the time you just take it if you want to reroll like 6 more augments basically. The Lotus 2 nerf, Living Forge buffed. Max build. It says adjusted. I think it's a little bit better than it used to be. It used to be 5 rerolls and then 5 more on 6-1, but your dupe is delayed by 2 turns. I don't think this is that big of a deal just because a lot of the times you want to wait like a couple turns after a carousel to use the dupe anyway. So then you just get like 5 extra free rerolls right away. So I think this is actually quite a bit better than it used to be. And it was already pretty good. So on a roll, 3-2 only will still be really, really, really good if you're in a spot for it. Like if you're playing 2 cost reroll, you're about to level to 6 and roll a lot. Rolling for days is like already good. It gives you 20 rolls. If you play like a 2 cost reroll, this thing it gives you, sorry, 20 golden rolls. This will give you like double that. Reinforcement has been way too good for too long. I think this is like more balanced, but it is a pretty big nerf. Threes threes. I think this is like too big of a nerf. I guess I do want this for like if you're trying to like high roll a 3-star 3 cost. But in terms of like just taking it for the gold, you're getting 27 instead of 32. I think it's like pretty sus now. I mean, if you need gold, you need gold. This one was way too good. So understandable nerf. Small buff twin guardians. Any important bug fixes? Yeah, this is very important. Um, nerfing Freljord basically. Disruptor with Freljord just was doing way too much damage. It it doesn't say how much, but it was a lot. Just everyone knows it was a lot, but we don't know the exact number. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it for patch notes. Looking at early data, average change. Shadow Isle went mostly unchanged. Gwen was buffed, and Bessa was buffed too as well. You'll play before you have Fiddle, but overall the comp was pretty unchanged. Uh, most of the meta comps got nerfs. Um, like the Seraphine Lysandra comp got the really big nerf in terms of a bug fix, despite a Lysandra direct buff. So yeah, a lot of the comps that were dominating the meta, like really high pick rates still, got nerfed. So stuff that went unchanged tend to go up. Sona nerfed here, so Demacia is a little bit worse. Seraphine a little bit worse. Yunara got like a direct nerf, so don't even see her here, but probably a little bit worse. Maybe she even went up. Yeah, I guess like despite the Yunara nerf was pretty small, and they also buffed Jin. So yeah, I know it's actually a tiny bit better. But yeah, just like stuff that doesn't get changed becomes better. Uh, Bard buffs helping out each troll reroll as well as any comp that plays Bard like Bruiser, Zion. Still like B tier comp, but Noxus Kindred, which we talked about earlier. Another Bard comp, Aphelios Bard backline with Defender frontline. 3 cost reroll comp. So I'm sorting by average change. So this comp benefited a lot from the patch, but it's still really bad. It went from like D tier to still D tier basically. Um, yeah. So for the most part, I would say the meta is very stable. Some stuff like this built over Seraphine like fell quite a bit, but it's still in S tier. So yeah. Um, yeah. Overall, the meta is just really stable. Aurelion Soul, like really small buff, doesn't change anything crazy. Yeah, I think that's about it.
What do
Uh,
you think the odds are we see a Jurassic Park, so to speak, a return of the dinosaurs? Or do you think it's still not enough to make it a playable line?
oh fuck, sorry, I was muted. Um, I think basically what I'm saying is, yeah, they changed some of the things you can eat. That being said, they're all pretty small. Like if you eat a 2-star fighter, you only gain 5 more AD. It's not nothing, but it's not that big. 3-star fighter is the same. So overall, T hex changes are quite small. I think if you have to spend a lot of gold like playing it the old way, where you're like rolling on lower levels, for example, for Caitlyn 3, I think it's quite bad. But maybe someone will figure out a way to just kind of like a better way to play the comp. And I do think if you're just like kind of natural at T Hex, like you just natural like a lot of Piltover units, and then you unlock T Hex without having to roll much like before level 8, I think it will be good. But if it's something like you're investing a bunch of econ to roll a lot before level 8, I think it's like pretty bad. The T Hex buffs are just like they're pretty small. But yeah, I think if you just like kind of naturally get it, especially in like Rise Portal, if you start the game with a Piltover emblem, but like strongly consider thinking about like playing a T Hex on your board at some point.
Makes sense.
We can look at T Hex directly as well. I'm a little interested in. Wait, that was a 5 cost. This patch 4.97. Last patch was a yeah. I guess like people probably saw the T Hex buff and are like still playing the old way where you spend a lot of gold on level 5 for Caitlyn 3, which is not good anymore. So people probably saw that and they're playing TX more. So TX actually like got worse AVP, which is kind of funny by quite a lot. But yeah, I think it's probably just like people trying it out. Overall, I would say it's just like a really small change to all these units. So if they're good before, they're still good. The biggest change is honestly probably like the Seraphine your bug fix, but the comp is apparently still S tier despite that. Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Otherwise, we can probably wrap it up here.
Do you think it's still a forecast reroll meta?
Uh, I think with level 9 being a little bit more appealing, I think more people are just gonna go level 9. A lot of it depends on like what the rest of your lobby does, right? Like if the whole lobby decides to like reroll 4 costs, then it makes rerolling 4 costs better. But I think with this change, more people are just gonna choose to go 9 instead.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all I have.
Right. I guess that's it then. Yeah, thanks for coming, y'all. And I'll post the recording later.
Okay, have a good night.
Yeah.